Please, not in the room yet.
Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. Ms. Easha.
Mr. Bova?
Here.
Mrs. Cerrucci?
Here.
Mrs. Delaney?
Here.
Mrs. McBride has stepped out of the room. Ms. Mungo?
Here.
Mr. Ritter?
Here.
Dr. Singh?
Here.
Mrs. Warning?
Here.
And Mr. Williams.
Here. Thank you. I didn't realize Ms. McBride stepped out. We're going to take a, do we have any residents with comments on agenda items? Why don't you walk very slowly to the podium?
Here she comes.
No, I just took an Advil. Thank you, though.
We started.
I know. Cheryl Boyce Monroeville. Dr. Rossi, did you revisit any of the grade 6 novels that we had discussed at all? Did you go back and revisit? You made some changes and.
They did, yes.
Okay, so did you move any of them up? Grade level wise?
The list on the agenda tonight is just a grade 6. We have to check with Sbsm again because it's a pot of book. They may be in and out. So this will be approved, and then we'll check on those others, potentially to move up.
So I should revisit this with you at a later
You can do
time.
that. Yep.
Just to let you know, there was some questions. You graciously invite us as a community to look at curriculum and books and whatever. And we did look at some of the books, these particular ones, a while ago. And there was some questions. I'm not big on banning books, nor am I into burning books. There was a question about the appropriateness for an 11-year-old. Would it be better? And I think we discussed that. If it was moved up a couple grade levels, maybe, a 13-year-old could appreciate some of the reading material versus a 6th grader. Because 6th graders at 11, I mean, some of them are very immature, and some of the reading material was pretty intense. So that's why I was questioning that, because you were talking about possibly revisiting them and going back and have a look-see again. So,
Yeah, we're going to pass it off to our department chair, so it'll probably be more of a process with the K-12 department chair to kind of revisit the remaining books.
because these books were not necessarily going in the library, which would be hard to.
Right. These are more classroom.
These are classroom books, so you could have put them in an 8th grade classroom.
Right.
So, in lieu of being in the library. So that was our question. I'll check back with you and we can discuss that later. By the way, the website, we're moving in the right directions. Couple little glitches here or there.
Tweaking it.
Yeah, Skyward would be nice if it was like the bold print, so it knocks parents out, because right now it's in regular.
Like a big button right in the screen.
Right.
Flashing
yes,
button.
Yes, that came to my attention by some parents, is that you gotta knock us out with that, make it really big so we get it, so, but thank you for doing it.
Any suggestions, please feel free to email me. We'll make those
I
adjustments.
know some people contacted Micah
Yes.
about
Mhm.
a couple things they saw in renting facilities. I
Okay.
think the Girl Scouts had a little bit of problem with that, so I think we need to.
Great.
So, but thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Boyes. The theme of tonight's kind of personnel, so I've invited Dr. Anthony Kane to our meeting tonight. Dr. Kane has met with a couple of board members and some folks from administration. Dr. Kane works at Duquesne University in the field of diversity and inclusion. And I think, as everyone's been paying attention knows, we have an endless process of trying to make Gateway more inclusive and a better environment for all students. Most of you probably also know we've had a year-plus debate about how to do that. And one solution was offered that kind of came to a dead end, but we did not stop the process of trying to figure out, how do we make this entity better? How do we help the people that have been doing it? How do we make this a better place? So I met Dr. Kane at Duquesne. I'm a little familiar with him and the work he's done. He's had a chance to talk to some of us. we're going to give Dr. Kane a minute or two, or as many as he wants, to talk to about what he's done, how he does it. And in terms of personnel, what I may be suggesting, as we go forward, is a contract with Dr. Kane to do some consulting to help us perhaps see what we might be missing. We've kind of been locked into two camps as to how we're going to do this. We have professionals here who I believe have done excellent work. There are people who clearly think more can be done. I think that's pretty simplistic. More can be done anywhere at any time. The question is, how do we do it? How do we allocate resources? And just as importantly, where are we trying to get? So, Dr. Kane, if you don't mind, you want to stand up at the podium. By the way, Dr. Kane not only is an employee at Duquesne, he's a Monroeville resident, just moved into our community. And so, come on up here, Dr. Kane.
Yellow jackets around my front.
Send Bob over, he'll kill him. He'll kill him.
Let me kill them, but she wants them gone,
See that?
so that's
Yep.
interesting.
Honeybees, they're wasps.
Yeah, hey, you can tell by the stinger. Can the people on Zoom hear me okay?
Yeah, they should be fine.
Perfect. Well, as Jack so eloquently put, I'm Dr. Anthony Kane Jr. I serve as Director for Diversity and Inclusion at Duquesne University. And I've been in this role for 2 years, but it's kind of been, diversity and inclusion has been infused in the work that I have done since I got to Duquesne in 2013. And so I was fortunate to meet with some folks over at Ramsey, that's the school over there. Getting the hang of it. Took me a while to find this building, but I could get to Ramsey. And just kind of talk through my approach to this work. And I'm open about the fact that I have unpopular opinions when it comes to diversity and inclusion work, but that's because I believe that so much of the conversation around it has made it seem so unattainable, and that in order for us to agree on how we should move forward, it has to be like it has to seem like something we can achieve, something we all can be a part of. And so anytime I talk about what I do, I always start by defining diversity, equity, and inclusion as it means to me. Diversity being who we are. I think I told JB in one of our first conversations, Gateway's not looking to do diversity work because we don't do diversity work. Diversity is who we are. Each of us brings unique characteristics to a particular space, to a particular conversation. And so to say you're doing diversity work means you're just working people. And there might be circumstances where you need to work folks because you need fundraising dollars. But in the work you're talking about doing, you actually want to do inclusion work, equity work. And so that brings me to the second word, which is inclusion or inclusiveness, that is what we're striving for. That is the job. Those are the tasks that we're performing. We're seeking to create spaces where everyone feels like they belong. Everyone feels like they can walk into. I will use this room as an example. I stood outside one because I didn't know who these 3 people were, and I didn't want to just barge in like, where's Jack Bova? But as soon as I stepped into the room, despite the heated conversation you all were having, I felt like I could sit here. I felt like I was welcomed into this space, and not because there's people in the room who have black and brown skin like I do, but because everyone smiled. Everyone kind of like looked and like, yeah, Dr. Short was the first person who smiled at me, and I was like, he remembers me. And so inclusion work is the ideal of identifying things that are missing for certain populations. And so we know Gateway as a district has become increasingly diverse, but we know that there are gaps, there are challenges, and I'll speak to the administration through the conversation we had. There are numbers gaps we need to close, there are gaps in performance we need to close, but there's also gaps in who's involved beyond our student athletes that need to be closed. And I say we because I live in the district, and so regardless what happens with this, I'm a member of this community, and hopefully we'll have the opportunity to raise kids here, so it is we. In equity, that's the outcome. If you do inclusive work appropriately and well, you will have equity. You will be able to say, for this population, we have increased X, Y, or Z through doing this work. It's not taking from one to give to the other or given specifically to one group, but making sure everyone has what they need to be successful. And so I'm not familiar with the textbook conversation, but access to school supplies is an equity issue. And while we would never go out and buy school supplies for a population of students and neglect the other students, the equity piece is how do we equip teachers with the supplies that their students need to learn? That being, there's always something there. And so I would make the acronym DIE, but that would freak people out because it spells die. But I will use DEI, but I think about it the other way around. In terms of the work that I've done, I've had an uphill fight the last 2 years. I think sometimes I walk into spaces and people are like, wow, Duquesne's doing great stuff. I'm glad y'all think that. But there have been challenges to get to where we are. I assumed this role following the murder of George Floyd. We had a parent who was on a hunger strike just feet from our campus. We had a student who was terrorizing affinity group. It was just a mess. And so I stepped into this position really just wanting to do one thing, and that was survive. But more importantly, let people know that we weren't going to back down. My office, my students, my community. And I think that's one of the things I really appreciate with some of the work Dr. Shaky shared is this commitment to doing what needs to be done. But the conversation we had previously made it clear that there needs to be more people to help us do what needs to be done. And so I've done some preliminary drafting and thinking of options and opportunities that exist based off my own experiences. But I understand that's important to hear from the people who are a part of the process before those decisions get made. And so I appreciate what has been shared prior by the folks I met with and Jack, but I'm also interested in hearing what those who weren't in the room think is the best course of action. I think the goal we've identified is creating something that represents diversity, equity, and inclusion at Gateway that's sustainable. And whether that's one position, multiple positions, utilizing resources because there are already people in place, I think that needs to be decided based off the people who want to have the conversation. I shared with Jack and a few folks that I met with before, which I remembered all of you. I am not going to back down, not because I'm that arrogant and I think that I'm perfect, but because this work is that important, that if I, a DEI practitioner, someone who spent 4 years of my life researching DEI, gave up, then what would that give? What would that say to the rest of the community? I'm in it for as long as you all allow me to be, and I'm totally comfortable having uncomfortable conversations. If you don't believe in DEI, let's talk about why. I guarantee you I'll change your mind. You might not buy fully in, but you'll understand and appreciate why it's important, or why it should be important to you. And so, regardless of if I'm at Duquesne or somewhere else, my research is rooted in DEI. And so regardless where I work, my commitment to this as it relates to Gateway School District will continue to remain. And I look forward to working with you all. And there's a grounds piece in here too. I don't know who the grounds folks are, but I assume it's you two. Per the last conversation, there's some ways that DEI impact the work that you all do, and it's not about the people. It's very much about how the buildings look and which schools look one way versus another. So I'll pick on you two because everybody else has. So, is that good?
There you go. Yeah, you hit the ground running. Perfect.
Spread it.
Mr. Brown was looking for it. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Not at all. All right, so we're going to get on to the meeting, eh?
Yes.
And then we'll be back in touch with Dr. Kane. You want to hang around and listen to how we do things? Fine.
You said it was a public meeting.
Oh, it's public. Yeah, and this is your world. Yeah.
Okay, moving right along. Complete comments from residents. Section B, financial reports. Mr. Schott.
Thank you, Dr. Short. Section B, resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approve Section B1 list of bills as listed in Section B at the Tuesday, July 26, 2022 special board meeting. Section B1 list of bills for July 2022. Just like to mention that originally back at the June 21st regular board meeting, the board technically approved the list of bills because we weren't sure if we were going to have the special board meeting this month. We do have the same list of bills that was sent out to the board last Wednesday on the agenda. So with this a formal approval and acknowledgement of these bills, we will actually mail these bills out for payment tomorrow since we kind of got onto our regular cycle. So I just wanted to mention that.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Williams, seconded by Ms. Cerucci. Any questions on that motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Can you hear me, Bonnie?
I can hear you. Thank you.
You usually say something now.
Thank you very much.
That's not what she says.
Moving right along, Section D, Personnel Agenda, Mrs. Crump.
Thank you, Dr. Short. Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors accepts and approves the personnel agenda items 1 through 7 as listed in Section D for the special board meeting of Tuesday, July 26th. Under resignations, we have 6 names listed. We have 2 leave of absence requests. For the collective bargaining unit, we have 7 transfers. And for this evening, we have 18 new hires. And I would be remiss if I did not thank all of the administrators and principals of all the time that they've spent in the last month reviewing applications, doing interviews. It's a long process. For those who think they sit down during the summer and don't do anything, this is what they do. So we're eternally grateful for them. We have 2 professional employees listed. We have 8 temporary professional employees. And for those who are not sure what that is, any teacher who has taught less than 3 years in the state are considered temporary professional employees until they have completed 3 years. Then they become a permanent employee. We're also recommending 8 one-year substitutes. Under Section D, we're recommending Kathleen Friend as a principal for Ramsey Elementary. We have a school police officer, a certified maintenance worker, full-time custodian, and also a new secretary for Mosside Middle School. Under event workers, we have 3 names listed. We also have 2 volunteers, 2 supplementals, and an improvement of a transition leader.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Where is the Ramsey Elementary teacher going, and should that be a transfer? Yeah, sorry, principal, excuse me.
That is listed.
The Ramsey principal is up for hire. That is letter D.
No, the current Ramsey
That would
principal.
be an internal transfer. That principal would be transferred to Gateway High School. We've
Be on the
Doesn't have to be
transfers.
board approved.
Oh, that doesn't have to be, doesn't have to be on the transfers.
No.
Oh, okay, that was my question.
Yes, question. Are we looking at any staff nurses?
Yes, we are. We have interviews scheduled next week. We have 1 we've contacted and made an offer to, and we have 2 additional ones that have sent us information that we have resume scheduled or interview scheduled for next week.
How many are we hiring total?
We have 2 that we need to replace.
All right, thank you.
And if I could just interject to piggyback on what Mrs. McBride was referencing, we are making a hire tonight for the principal of Ramsey Elementary. It's a familiar name, Ms. Katie Friend, who has spent years at Ramsey and then moved on to Penn Hills. She has agreed to return to Ramsey, and a lot of people are familiar with Katie and the work that she did. It's definitely a welcome addition to our administrative staff. On that note, Mr. Joseph Rossi has been transferred up to Gateway High School, and he is assuming the role as assistant principal. He has settled in with Mr. Stevens. I do know that Dr. Chakey and Dr. Rossi have been up there over the last couple days, transitioning, helping him acclimate himself to the high school. So I wanted to make those announcements as well.
Can I ask, have we made any progress with the Director of Human Resources?
Still currently looking at that. Mrs. Crump has been working every day in the district.
We still have people who are,
Yes.
and they still can apply.
Apply, absolutely.
Okay.
We thought it was critical to get the teaching staff in play right now, given the competitiveness of everything. But we still are advertising for Mrs. Crump's position, and we will be interviewing soon for that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Nope. Roll call, please. Bonnie?
Mrs. Cerucci?
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney?
Aye.
Mrs. McBride?
Aye.
Ms. Mungo?
Aye.
Mr. Ritter?
Aye.
Dr. Singh?
Aye.
Mrs. Warning?
Aye.
Mr. Williams?
Aye.
And Mr. Bova?
Aye, with the exception of section C, number 5. I'm going to abstain. And by the way, that should be Gabrielle Palanchek. Congratulations on her recent nuptials.
Thank you.
All righty, beautiful. Ready.
Thank you, Mrs. Easha. Moving right along, section F, administrative report, elementary education. Dr. Rossi.
Item number 1, approve the grade 6 novels provided by Savis, Exhibit A.
Item number 2, overnight excursion for Gateway High School Robotics Club. Item number 3, professional meeting for Officer Schott and Hasbro Conference.
Item number 4, approve the district's continued participation and/or new participation to join cooperative purchasing groups, agreements, and contracts as applicable, as indicated below during the current 22-23 fiscal year. Item number 5, exoneration of district real estate tax collectors for the 21-22 fiscal year, specifically Municipality of Monroeville, Patrick Fulkerson, in the amount of $942,765.34, and Borough of Pitcairn, Sally DeRobio, in the amount of $123,426.40. Item number 6, approve the district's receipt of federal IDEA Section 619 pass-through funds through the Allegheny Intermediate Unit Number 3 DART program in the amount of $5,328, and the use of funds agreement and the preliminary budget of expenditures for the 22-23 fiscal year as depicted in Exhibit B. Item number 7, approval of Title I federal funds regulations for the current 22-23 fiscal year. Item number 8, approve the district's receipt of federal pass-through funds and the statement of agreement through the Pennsylvania Training and Technical Assistance, PATAN, in the total amount of $7,500 to be received and expended during the 22-23 and 23-24 fiscal years as depicted in Exhibit C. Item number 9, approve the Unified Champion Schools Memorandum of Understanding with Special Olympics Pennsylvania for Interscholastic Unified Indoor Bocce at Gateway High School during the 22-23 and 23-24 fiscal years as depicted in Exhibit D. Item number 10, approve the agreement for professional sports architecture services with JT Sauer and Associates in the amount of $38,200 for the professional services associated with all required phases to install one additional new artificial turf athletic field, physical education field at the Gateway High School Sports Complex to be paid from the general fund for the 22-23 fiscal year as depicted in Exhibit E. Item number 11, approve the change orders for Liacarius Construction Company, Inc. and Bristol Environmental, Inc. in the total net amount of $41,743.60 as depicted below. Item number 12, approve the district's purchases and payments for the following maintenance department items during the 22-23 fiscal year, specifically with Delray Windows, 2 of the purchase and installation of the EFCO storefronts and entrances for the Gateway High School North entrance renovation. That's in the amount of $10,570. Item number 13, approve the hiring of Horizon Information Services to provide and install a new building audio system in the total amount of $294,255 through the PA CoStars program as a part of the Gateway Middle School renovation project during the 22-23 fiscal year and is depicted in Exhibit F. Item number 14, approve the advertisement in the Post-Gazette, in the Greensburg Tribune Review, in the New Pittsburgh Courier, and on the district's website of the district's bids for milling and paving of parking lot sealing and lining, striping, exterior painting, and other building and grounds improvements as applicable. Item number 15, approve the Tricog Land Bank's notice of intent to acquire 2 Monroeville properties located within the Gateway School District in the waiver of all applicable taxes, tax claims, and municipal claims due against the properties as depicted in Exhibit G. Item number 16, approve the letter of agreement with TCV Community Services for Student Assistance Program Liaison Services in all district school buildings during the 22-23 fiscal year as depicted in Exhibit H. Item number 17, approve the agreement with A.W. Gusky Productions for video recording and broadcasting services for athletic games and other district special events at the various rates and fees as applicable to each type of event during the 22-23 fiscal year and as depicted in Exhibit I. And finally, item number 18, approve the prices of the applicable a la carte food items for the district's food service department during the 22-23 fiscal year as depicted in Exhibit J.
So moved.
Second?
Also, motion made by Mr. Williams, seconded by Ms. Cerrucci. Any questions on that? Aside from that last one, Paul, what's the tater tot cost going to be this year? Just kidding, nobody cares. Anyone have any
Well-
questions? Paul, do you have that? Do you have that at your fingers?
No, actually, I can make a general comment for you,
I
actually.
have to look at, wait.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
So, yeah,
Question on number 13.
Ms. McBride, number 13.
I know the audio system, and the exhibit's not online. That's who it is.
For 13?
This is an additional change to the Gateway Middle School renovation project.
Micah, do you want to review item 13?
Yes, I don't think I explained it very well in the Buildings and Grounds Committee meeting. This change was something that after we performed the bid, we did see that the system they provided was lacking the abilities we want. So prior to issuing the bond, we did actually include this as a technology set-aside item. So this was actually a pre-budgeted expenditure. It just was not included in the actual construction bid. But one of the reasons why we're making this change is it adds a lot of extra safety functionality, including the microphones that the teachers would wear in the classrooms. They can press a button on the microphone and it will send a silent alert to the office to indicate that there's a problem wherever the teacher is in the building.
So this can be linked to any upgrades that are done with any other buildings
Yes,
later on, like the security things that, okay.
that is correct. So we are going to use this building as a pilot, and if it works well, we will be expanding it to other buildings.
So Bob, this is John. This item does clear up the question that I did raise during the buildings process. There are two things that we need to do. One is upgrade the auditorium so that it has a really nice sound system. It's very difficult to do. Lighting, sound, acoustics, all that's very technical stuff, and it should cost a good amount of money to get a good product for the auditorium to be useful to the community. The other is like Leslie just said, to wire the hallways and the inside and the outside so people can hear. Bus number 2 is arriving. You should be able to hear that inside or outside, whatever it is. And then other folks should be able to hear or make notes into a certain classroom. Send Johnny Jones down to the office, his mother's here, something like that. So that all needs to be nice and crisp and clear. And I thought that would be part of the original architect bundle. But it was, as Miko said, this was polished and added in later, and it's still part of the construction funding that we have already approved. So this guarantees that we're going to get good sound. Good sound is really important in schools.
Any other questions?
Number 10, was this not included on the action item about the, that we had taken to approve the addition of this field?
This is for some additional services required for JT Sowers and for the additional field, which required all the additional drawings and et cetera for submission for the various permitting fees related to that, as well as the overall design of the project. I'm not sure if Mr. Brown would like to jump in and add anything to that explanation or not, but adding an additional field up there to the project did create a significant amount of extra work.
And by the way, the exhibit was online. It was just mislabeled. Yeah.
Don found it.
Okay. All right. Also, number 12. Where is the north entrance at the high school?
That would be by the technology education wing, adjacent around the
So
corner
I
from.
thought we had the doors already, or do we?
We had the doors from the Gateway Middle School project because of the change, but there's more to it than just two doors.
Right.
There's glass and that goes around those doors and the labor to install all those things. And that was, now we will have a credit for those doors on the Gateway Middle School project. But to have that two double sets of doors, one's the air block, one's the exterior door, along with sidelines, transoms, which were not part of that project.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Okay, any other questions?
One other question. What is this one? On that, number 16. Okay, is Mrs. Bungard on? I do not see her.
Yes, I'm here.
I don't see your picture. Okay. This is on that Devereaux Advanced Behavior Health, the TCB?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
that's Myrtle Creek Valley.
Correct. This is, when you're looking at this compared to that Care Solace that we approved earlier,
Yes.
okay, the difference between these two, could you explain that, please?
Sure. Turtle Creek Valley is actually a service that comes into our building and works with our students, and they provide services for our student assistance program, as well as they do, they work with FDR, and they provide small groups and individual in the building. The Care Solace program that we spoke about back in the spring is an actual service that is more like a company that coordinates the agencies that are working outside in the community with our families in the school district. So they don't actually physically come into our building. This is just, Care Solace is the service that it is a contact and a person that will connect those families with those services, where Turtle Creek Valley is actually in our buildings and they are providing services to families and to students in the building.
So they work with FBR?
Yes.
And like they get a space in all the buildings, right?
Correct.
The Care Solace, anybody has access to that? Any family in the district?
Yes. Any of our stakeholders, our teachers, our administrators, our students, our families in the community can access that. And that is something that we will be rolling out with the staff at the beginning of the school year. We've been working with the company to get our principals trained and additional members in our district trained with that service. But that is more like an agency that we communicate through online or making a phone call. They don't actually physically come into our building.
So more like a service coordination for people that don't need the SAP or YAP or behavioral interventions inside the school.
Correct. They also help those families that may be looking for agencies and need that connection. And because they don't have a bank of resources like Care Solace, they're able to reach out to many other agencies out there and do that work for the family, when sometimes that can be frustrating.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And with is this our first year with Care Solace, right? Our first go round with them?
Yes, this is actually going to be the first year we're going to be up and running.
Okay. And how is that information going to get to the students? Is that an email blast or?
Yes, it'll be something I'll work with Dr. Schott on putting something on the website. There'll be a pamphlet. We'll get that out to our families.
And then something that'll be revisited to see how many families
Utilize the resource.
utilize it versus the cost of. Because if they're with SAP or YAP, they also get that same kind of service. But this one, they don't really have to go through those programs. They can do it.
That's it, I'm good, thank you.
Thanks.
Welcome.
Oh, question. Do we know if our students, since I'm looking at the a la carte prices, and I know a la carte is extra for our students, will our students be receiving their breakfast and lunch at no cost this year? Are we,
We're pretty close to announcing that.
okay.
We're analyzing the funding from federal
No, I'm just
but
wondering.
we anticipate that being free.
Okay. Thank you.
So Mr. Bova had to step out to handle something privately, and I'm the school board vice president. This is John Ritter, so I'm taking over. At this point, are we ready to vote on this? We need to vote on this now? So the discussion is closed. Bonnie, if you would, take us through the vote, please.
Mrs. McBride,
Aye.
Mrs. Delaney,
Oh, I couldn't hear you. You said my name?
Yes.
Mrs. Delaney,
Aye.
Ms. Mungo,
Aye.
Mr. Ritter,
Aye.
Dr. Singh,
Aye.
Mrs. Warning,
I accept for 15.
Mr. Williams,
Aye.
and Mrs. Tarucci.
I, except for number 1, I think I need more time to review the grade 6 novels, so I vote no on number 1.
Thank you. And Mr. Bova's not here. Thank you. Motion carries.
Very good. Okay, so we're going to move to comments from residents on non-agenda items, and then we're going to move into board reports. When we do the board reports, I'm going to open the door because we don't have very many committees meeting. To anybody that's online right now, on the Zoom meeting, and the folks here, the staff members. So first, any comments from residents on non-agenda items? Very good. Okay, the folks online there. So Bonnie, Trish, Paul, and Heather, do you have any comments or words of wisdom for us? Greetings.
I have nothing.
Very good. Okay, the folks in the room here, Don, Guy, Bob, Dennis, how's your summer going? Fast?
Dawn, any announcements with upcoming?
Just a couple quick things. You know, they did finish resurfacing the gym. It looks outstanding in the sports complex. It's an annual thing, and obviously it looks like, you know, when your car comes out of the car wash, it looks fantastic. Great work by that group. We are on the cusp of another round of offering physicals at the school for $15 for our student athletes in the final fall sports signups through Skyward, through parent Skyward accounts. Football heat acclimatization starts August 8th. Every other sport starts official practice on the 15th. So that's obviously right around the corner for all our fall sports. Basically, that's the nuts and bolts of what's going on. A lot of wrapping up physicals and all those athletic department purchase orders that have come in for the various sports and for our trainer and technology, all those kind of things. So we're almost ready to start the fall sports season. And last thing, we are making that conversion that we piloted in the spring to digital ticketing. So we'll be doing all digital ticketing, including different
Ticketing in order to get into an event.
Yes.
Very good.
Season passes, seasonal passes, all fall sports, you know, all year passes, 15 events for a pass for a student, you know, to use as they see fit, kind of things. That all that's in place coming up as well for the fall sports season.
All right, we'll jump to Bruce and Bill, and then we'll circle to the left to do all the board reports or readings. So Bruce, anything from your team?
Nothing new to report
Bill,
tonight.
anything from your team?
Just would like to acknowledge the work of the administrative staff, HR department. It's been extremely busy with the number of hires that you see in front of you tonight that were voted on and approved. A lot of hours spent looking, examining resumes, speaking with individuals, checking references. We're excited about the group of teachers, administrators that are coming in our district, joining our team, and we will have an induction program set up in the near future for them.
Thank you very kindly. Don, could we just jump back to one thing? I noticed on our list of topics tonight, Special Olympics. That goes near and dear to my heart. I mean, I was involved with this when I was a kid, you know, back when dirt was young. Special Olympics is just a tremendous. So are there opportunities for the community to involve or help out or come, you know, bring the kids, or what can
Well, what you approved tonight was the official memorandum of agreement with Special Olympics to begin our unified bocce program that I had spoken about at a previous meeting. And obviously, there were two components of that. One was through Special Olympics to conduct the program in accordance with their bylaws and their directives and to meet some criteria, and that was one aspect. The previous one that was also listed was half of our grant money, or $15,000 grant that we received from federal funding for this project, and also to develop future special educators was allotted in also an agreement. So we have to, as a board, we had to approve that agreement. So we're receiving funding for that program and going to run it in compliance with the Special Olympics plan. Per your question about involvement, I'm excited about the involvement of our own students, both in the inclusion mode, our gen ed students and our special ed students, but also I'm excited about the community getting involved. And really just, as I mentioned, I got to witness a home bocce match and the vibe that we want to have when we have those young people playing bocce in our sports complex gym is we experienced it last year with our basketball team going to the state semifinals. It should feel like a Whitfield Championship sporting event. We want to pack the place with both our student body and our community to cheer those Gateway bocce bowlers on. I think it's going to be really an awesome thing.
I love those types of programs. It gives us an opportunity to reach out and to give and to receive both ways. They give, the kids give and receive. So thank you very much for.
And we're grateful, obviously, to the state and federal funding, and also the Special Olympics for taking us on board. It's a pretty sought-after program, and we were, blessed and fortunate to get involved, and then certainly, this group to make it official by approving the acceptance of the funding and the MOU with the special education.
Thank you very kindly. Leslie, you're first.
Oh,
Val.
Thanks. Mr. Hall, when are the physicals again?
The second.
August 2nd.
Next Tuesday from 9 to 12 a.m.
All right,
In
thank
the
you.
school nurse's office, $15.
Okay, thank you. Also, I don't know if our residents realize this, but we are still offering the grab-and-go lunches. They are at Evergreen, Cambridge Square, and at Pitcairn Park building. So it's you grab and go like they did in the past years. You don't have to stay there. Also, I had gotten several inquiries about our school photographer, and people were not happy with. I did check with our business manager, says that we have a 3-year contract with this company, and we will be starting year 2. So talking with Dr. Schott, he said that he had received one
Complaint.
So if we can set up something, hopefully for this year and even for last year, because there's there's many families that have not received their orders yet, that we can have them contact. We can put that on the webpage if we have, an issue with it, to contact, because there has been a lot of problems. Not, they didn't come to you, but I'm hearing about it, and other ones, said things. So if we can do that.
We should be able to verify that we actually have families that did not receive their school photos last year? Is that what you said?
yeah.
We have had this conversation in the past at a meeting, I would believe 3 months ago. And I specifically asked for any parent, family member who did not receive a classroom photo or individual photos, please contact my office or Mrs. Estock, my administrative assistant. And from there, we received one, and it was corrected immediately.
Okay.
So you sent that out as a blast of some sort? You sent it out as a blast of?
Maybe our news reporter could put that in the paper. If there are any families that did not receive their photographs,
And we will add
definitely need
that
to know about that.
to the website as well for the photographs this year. If there is any type of inquiry by a parent or family member of something they didn't receive, please contact us and we'll straighten it out immediately.
Okay.
And then one other thing, if you've been watching meetings, I have been talking about getting pouches for our cell phones in our school district. We will be sending out a survey to our families, so please look for that survey. I'm not sure when it's going out, but we're hoping to get this implemented.
So this is the question, should Gateway allow the cell phones to be stored in certain pouches, if the teachers desire that? Is that this issue?
Basically, what we have discussed would be students would receive a pouch when they walk in, insert their phone. They would carry their phones with them during the day, but they would not be able to answer them because the pouches would be locked. And then at the end of the day, there is a lock that the students would hit and opens their pouches, and they're able to remove their phones. They keep the pouches with them, they take them home and bring them back.
The survey asked the question of the parents and the guardians, what do you think about this approach, right?
I'm not sure what the survey's going to be. That's
Essentially those questions, yes.
Very good.
Yeah, I have a question on that. If the student needs to use the phone to call home, what do they do?
if the student needs to use the phone, then they would, as I'm going to say, we did
Go to the
in
office?
my age, go to the office. There are provisions for students that need their phones for testing, medical reasons. If there's emergencies, there are locks. There would be locks throughout the buildings, which the students would be able to unlock it at that time. So that's what we're looking at.
Thank you very much. Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
What do you do? What, that includes watches too?
Yes.
And Susan?
Oh, you know, I was going back to Mr. Hall. So you're going to keep us updated or just informed of how we can, as a community, school board, whatever, participate when it comes to the events with the Special Olympics and all.
Absolutely. We're going to be making sure that everybody's well informed and publicizing them greatly. It's a winter sport, so it runs simultaneously with basketball season. So we'll make sure that everybody knows exactly what's going on. We'll have one home event. They'll play maybe 3 matches, but everyone they want one. And again, the reason is to make it a big event. So we're going to certainly make it a well-publicized big event with every possible avenue, getting the word out when it's going to occur and taking it from there.
Very good. Yeah. And I'd also like to thank Dr. Kane for coming and speaking to us on, excuse my voice, to us on diversity, inclusion, equity, and I agree with him wholeheartedly that Monroeville, we know, is one of the most diverse communities in the country. So we're not addressing diversity per se, but inclusion and equity, I still feel that that needs to be addressed. And particularly, I'm hoping, I know that we've been addressing teachers, administration, but in some way, and you can agree or disagree, I feel that the community as well as the students need to be involved, so that if we're talking about inclusion, that's the only way I feel that we can address that issue. As I said, I know we're addressing administrators and teachers, but some kind of way we need to know that our students feel included, and our parents and the community, that they as well do. And as I said, you can agree or disagree, but I'm assuming there's a way that we should be doing that. Okay. Also, for our community, hopefully most of you know that Saturday is Monroeville Community Day. And if you didn't, Saturday is Monroeville Community Day. And I look forward to it. And if you have families, that's something to look forward to. They'll have a lot of activities. It starts at 11 and goes until 6, and they'll have food trucks,
And
anything with
that
food.
the Monroeville Community Park, was it east or west?
West.
Okay.
No, there was an east. Okay, the only one I know is the west.
It's the original.
The original. Check your, Google it, but no, I'm pretty sure it's the west. So try to support that. That's a good family event and affair. I'll be there Val will be there and some others, I'm sure. And keep in mind, all the national holidays for July, I will mention only a few of them. National Hot Dog Month, National Ice Cream Month, National Baked Bean Month, National Grilling Month. And the two that I really like, National Make a Difference to Children Month. I love that. And it's National Family Reunion Month, which I have been involved in this month, traveling. So those are just all that I have. Enjoy the rest of the summer vacation, all of us.
Very good. Thank you, Mary Beth.
I would like to acknowledge Patricia Crump, because as you know, we've been trying to replace her and hire an HR director unsuccessfully. And without her agreeing to stay on board, we would have really been in a pickle, as you saw all of the new hires that she's been involved with. So, Mrs. Crump, I know you're not in the room, but thank you. We are definitely indebted to you, and we thank you for your willingness to stay aboard with us. And I would also like to mention Miss Friend, Katie Friend, was the principal at Ramsey Elementary School when my children were there. My children are now 17 and 20, so it's been a while. But to all of you Ramsey families, you will love her. She did a phenomenal job, and I am very happy and excited that she is returning to Gateway. So welcome, Miss Friend. That's all I have.
Mendel.
Thank you. Nothing this time.
Scotty.
Nothing this evening, thank you.
Robin? Nothing. Very good. I don't really have anything, so I'm looking. Val has one more item.
I would like to have an executive session without administrators after this meeting, please.
For the purpose of?
Personnel.
For personnel reasons, once we conclude this meeting, the board will meet without the administrators. So I'm looking for
Motion to adjourn into executive session.
Mary Beth. Second?
Second.
Everybody seconds, all in favor. Thank you very much, folks, for coming.
Thank you.